Political leadership of Ukraine not publicly seeking help from the West since the end of October. Month. I don't remember all these statements. Let us recall the open statement of the minister. Defense of Alexei Reznikov December 3rd, but please give me a stinger and long sea sands. I remind you that from his own words. And closed, he would have openly spoken at the end of November when they asked for a stinger and the Americans waved their hands soon and not those stingers. Like this on or crying and begging for these weapons. I already date outside and sanction weapons, sun weapons, sanction weapons, station weapons, etc., etc. But our allies baptized the nozzle or gave an interview ministerial. He would take 2 shadows from 22 Nview for 2 cities a day. He said that just a meeting came out from Biden moves in. The decision maker to that there is no terrorist attack and it's on fire. They said goodbye to me as if with cancer. Let's meet. Well, like, the end is for you and we sympathize with the possibility of confirming, or is there, in your opinion? Now you don't know what design, what exactly the Americans mean. The meeting at the ball, right? The Pentagon, right? A discharge. Communities believe that Ukraine would not stand there longer. I don't know how long. Tiffany and Fine said 72 hours. Kyiv will be this American Ukraine. The end will stop with the opposite. We will be defeated. This is a cooler. This is not me. The obstruction will arrest and the countries of the old man. He told it inside. 1 out of 3 did not have time to fly. The war has already begun. Let's meet from the game. So as it were, under these conditions, Zelensky should make a decision from the point of view of our citizens there. Some come out and say to the people, you know guys, we are here war. I remind you that the date of supply is according to my information changed 5 times and urgently. She also occupied the building on a scale of 22 months before the fish. Attention, starting to simulate the situation. We called up reservists, called for an exercise, spent a lot of money. Reservists all sit in parks and receive an average salary. We ask why. The result means what we are talking about. Because you are all preparing well for this, everyone has loaded their machines and are waiting for a war, which means 3 weeks have passed, there is no war. They tell Zelensky, what are you talking about for the president? Our people of Ukraine will make mother's beautiful name. The opposition will jump out and he will say that he always had to not trust him, and now he made a mistake. I could throw memes that are like there again. After how this picture, determined for 5 deuce, again the invasion will take away all this can be rated. How they laughed at him when he drops about this invasion, giggling and telling him he wants a not 1 class, he collapsed. The rating no longer knows how to download popularity for itself, and so on. Then it can well mean that some of the you dare to say then went the tone as you promised him when help 2-6. It should have been December on, and here he is. It's already the end of January. It's gone. Ha 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 ha. Let's go home. But we threw away the currency stages of stocks so slightly into gold because mobilization, you know, it's not a joke. It's a lot of money. If now the war costs $9 billion regime here today, it was announced there's 790 Cardiff, but just remind you that then no Western help was out of the question, neither large-scale economic nor military. We spent this money, but we didn't get anything. They were in a hurry to give. Moreover, then investors from Ukraine fled en masse. If you remember the US embassies, no one wanted to invest money. They brought you to the peak of your sum. If you lose, I remind you that Zelensky had to announce to declare to the nation that tomorrow there will be war. In conditions when partners were given to us not help, but 72 hours, just think about this topic, screamers. Just think here he comes out and knowing that the partners give him 70 to him personal all over the country 72 hours. I declare war. Let's prepare for I don't know what help will not be because they don't believe that it will come in handy. This help to just put it out with help without help. They said goodbye to us when the Americans shouted at us, but they warned you. Yes, but they came to say goodbye to us at that moment. Everything rises very bad's warning saying goodbye to us. They while the guys are gone, we can pat on the head and press them, those who are wise and speak out beyond the borders of everything. Very simple. Everything is very simple and not like what the Europeans did to us. They even they don't even say goodbye. They promised a movie. Flowers on our grave someday. Then he comes out and says, well, now the question could not be that the Allies win. The Allies give us 72 hours. They talked in the cinema. Well, then you heard it. It was discussed. You flew in. Wait. Let's go in. It's logical this photo. If I were the president or there I go around, I'm Zelensky, I go out and you speak Ukrainian. People, I say hello, dear Ukrainian people. It means that Russia's attack is inevitable. It will fall on us all. With its power 8 field armies out of 10 all special forces 7 paratroopers of the family 800 aircraft, which is the son of the border and will long and carefully hit us with cruise missiles. The attack will be on Kiev, on Kharkov, on Sums for Chernihiv will break out of the Crimea and go to Kherson, and on the Cossacks will seize the atomic stations may be removed from Belarus, because I also have a load of the army on high alert. Good news for you dear citizens, need to be nervous. Allies give us whole, I asked for help. Allies, and they give us a whole 72 hours to exist, so I ask you to prepare for war, to feel comfortable and dry and convenient in these 7 bits of layout. In 72 hours we will all die. There will be no Ukrainian statehood. So our allies said, along with their warnings, thank you, no matter how you disagree, who will be the last? Turn off the lights. Oh, before that, although the president is good, sure to convince part. The Ukrainian people say to us, allies don't care, you give us, we know how it is now, about how they are now through. They say for half a year, but I remember how everything started when the security forces of the departments ran away, you know, yes, whole. Very famous people will not boil the button, showed the described pants, and that not only did they, brave bloggers, I saw a list of children bloggers are, as it were, some of the bravest Transcarpathians are a little less. They are brave there, Poland, Germany, there, some islands there, they told how to fight, and especially the blogger there and so on, so that's what I wanted to say, that yes. And the military, not everyone was in condition, so to speak, delicately on. In fact, without food, and of course, the rule of miracles, about which many resisted, as it were, soaked, but how we're still separate we won't talk about the show, so they believe let's have it already. It's not a question that we handed out everything, we're all sitting, we're all mobilized, we dug trenches, we see the backup, we're waiting, and marriage is not attacked, it is marriage under longer, as if the aggressor, he can choose the time of the attack too. For February is a very unfavorable time for the attack. This mudslide begins. It should attack help the Allies still don't give Moscow nothing to lose, because if there were a pace to win help they gave us, they wanted to win in terms of pace, then yes, they didn't give us help. Sit yourself, wait for now, and stupid fools from the mobilized Ukrainian army sits burning through the last gold and foreign exchange reserves, as it were, and figes. They pulled 200 or 300 men, they took them out of the economy, they threw it, or how much they threw it at camps to work out, they worked out, but they didn't. Nakota mid-March for 2 months, the reservists in the fields, they do not attack. Among them a Korean among them is not a disease. This is a wife complaining, every unconditional, because he promised war no 2 months parting. All these experts halt nodding to economic reports about only the queen of the economy and this very grapple hryvnia and everything else. Only this is always nonsense. The embassy left, I don't come, part of the embassy has already returned. Volvo, and something needs to be done. But there is no war among at the end of March, there is no war among at April, there is no war. I am writing. How much trust the top military political leadership would have by mid-April? 0, and at this moment Russia does not strike. Only I would wait until the moment when the reservists would have been disbanded, but because it's impossible to keep them there, riots would have already begun in parts, by families, massive riot. Damn, the president's rating flew into the minus. It doesn't even matter the noise of Zelensky, the hryvnia would fall down and the gold and foreign exchange reserves would gobble up these exercises, and that's where we are. They went back, the reservists at this moment Arsini, they are told to return immediately, they inflicted on the move. Caught, understand, so only to return home, and that's all, and then really 72 hours. That's all. But now let's add another part to this scenario. Some citizens are very, those who love the president then believed that the war would start, they would run to the West Gap. Production chains correctly, panic, road transport collapse. Wherever they went and what Europe then accepted were massively these refugees wherever they lived in winter wherever they could.